What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Command and Console. My name is Jason. Today we're going to be looking at my Xbox 360 collection. Now, I've been collecting Xbox 360 since July of 2023. I got a little bit of a head start. My brother donated some of his collection to me, so you've probably seen those games in a very early video back in the day when I started to collect 360. And yeah, I've accumulated a fairly sizable collection. It isn't complete yet. I've still got games on my list that I'm looking for, but I feel like behind me we've got some great titles I've not played yet, titles that I love, titles that people hate but I love as well. We've got loads of them here, so let's turn around, let's look at the shelves and see what's in my 360 collection. So we're at the shelves. So the first title is going to be 007 Quantum of Solace. I have not played this yet. I haven't played it yet. It's still a title that I need to check out and give a go, but I've heard it's a decent Bond game for the 360, so definitely got to check it out at some point. So yeah, it's made by Treyarch as well, which is cool, the Call of Duty guys, so hopefully it has the same quality of that, I guess. Next title on the sheet is another Bond game. It is Bloodstone 007, another game I need to play. I've heard it's really good. I've heard it's fun, so I'm looking forward to checking it out when I get a chance. 007 GoldenEye Reloaded. Actually pretty fun little kind of remake of the N64 classic. Pretty decent. I like it quite a lot. Very Call of Duty-esque, but you know, what do you expect from Activision these days, or those days should I say. But yeah, a really fun remake, I think. Replaces Pierce Brosnan with Daniel Craig, but it's decent. 007 Legends. I've heard this is pretty much the game that killed the 007 license on consoles, which is a shame, but I've heard it's not as terrible as people say, or as the reviewers would say, but really looking forward to checking that one out at some point. Got Alan Wake, one of my favourite survival horror games on the system. So good. Told in a weird kind of like TV episode style. Really cool concept as well. Loved that one. Aliens vs Predator 2009 or 2010, I forget. This one is definitely one of my favourites on the system, in terms of just like, I remember playing loads of this when it came out, and yeah, really like the campaign. I like how you're playing 3 separate campaigns: Alien, Predator and Marine. I think the Marine is still the best campaign on here, but I do like that the multiplayer is sick as well. Asymmetric multiplayer is really fun on this, so I recommend, if you can play it multiplayer. I think it's still available because it's backwards compatible. Next game on the docket is Bayonetta, one of the best action games ever made. I love this game to pieces. I think it's one of the coolest games ever. The character is cool. She kicks all kinds of ass. And yes, I know I got to take the stickers off these cases. Awesome game though. Next up is Beowulf the game. Fun fact, I've never seen the film, but this was like £1, so I thought I'd add it to my sword and sorcery collection. I love kind of games that evoke kind of just like magic and swords and violence, and this is meant to be kind of a God of War clone, so definitely up for giving this a go at some point. Straight up, one of the best games on the 360, one of the best games ever in my opinion, BioShock. I adore this game. It's absolutely fantastic. The world of Rapture is enthralling. The game itself is just immaculately good. Like, you know, the 1-2 punch of the plasmid attacks and the weapons are just awesome, and the big daddies are pretty badass as well. BioShock 2, a really underrated sequel to the first game. I absolutely love it. I think it's great. You play as a big daddy in this one, so it's really different and really fun. Love that one. It's really cool. I don't have Infinite because I felt like Infinite was a bit of an overrated game. I was a bit underwhelmed by Infinite. I feel like the first 2 BioShocks are still the best ones. Got Blur, a great arcade racing game. It's basically Mario Kart but with real cars. It's pretty sick. Love it. Next up, we've got the Bourne Conspiracy, a game that I found in the charity shop. So I've not actually played this yet. I've never seen the films either, so it's a bit weird that I own this. But I've heard it's a pretty good licensed tie-in. I've heard it's pretty decent, movie tie-in, so I'm looking forward to giving that a go. Maybe I should watch the films first, though. Next up is Brothers in Arms Hell's Highway, a really cool Brothers in Arms games. I really like this series in general. I don't think this is the best in the series. I still think the first one is absolutely top quality, but I think this one is still decent for a next gen like 360 version. Yeah, really cool. Brothers in Arms Hell's Highway. It's got some really cool squad control mechanics where you can get your squad to like flank an enemy and do suppressive fire. It's really clever the way it does squad controls. Next up we got Brutal Legend. Really fun, kind of heavy metal, kind of basically it's a heavy metal love letter basically, and it's Jack Black as the main character. You're thrown into this world of heavy metal and monsters and stuff, and you got to find your way to get back. You died, and then you got to basically save this world from ruin. Essentially, it's really cool. Next up, we've got Bullet Witch, probably the most expensive 360 game that I've bought at the moment in terms of my collection. I remember this being really jank, but really fun at the same time back in the day, and I had to own it for the collection because I've got some kind of nostalgia for it. I've heard that it's not got the most fondness of fans, so maybe this hasn't aged very well now, but I remember it being quite fun. It's kind of Bayonetta before Bayonetta, and then where you shoot shit rather than hack and slash. Pretty cool. Call of Duty 2, one of the best Call of Duties in my opinion, especially when it concerns the World War II stuff. Love that. It's awesome. What a way to launch the 360 with that as a launch title. World at War might be the best World War II Call of Duty. Played loads of this growing up, played loads of the campaign, played loads of multiplayer. Really cool. And to get it in the charity shop is always fun. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. People would argue this is the granddaddy of Call of Duty. The big boy, so to speak. I just remember this being an addiction back in the day. The multiplayer was an absolute addiction. Played loads of it. Wasn't particularly good at it. I was pretty rubbish, but the addiction was there, and I just played shitloads of that. Then we've got Call of Juarez, or Juarez. I don't know how you pronounce it, guys. I'm useless. A really cool Western game. Wild West. Pretty cool. Not too familiar with this first game. I played a little bit of it, but this next game in the series is where my heart lies. Is Call of Duty Bound for Blood. Awesome Wild West game. Really recommend this one. Great gunplay, great characters, great story. Love it. It's really good. If you have not played this one, definitely check it out. It's awesome. Move the camera along. One of the worst games ever made, but I kind of have a weird soft spot for it. It's terrible. Call of Juarez, the Cartel. There's an abundance of videos on YouTube that tell you this game is one of the worst ever. But for some reason, when someone says it's the worst game ever, my ears prick up and I want to experience it for myself. And I don't think it's that bad. I mean, it's bad, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's like the worst thing ever. It's pretty dreadful in the context of the rest of the games in the Call of Juarez series. But I think it's a fun little weird game that you could probably just bang on for 10 minutes and actually have a bit of fun with. Castlevania Lords of Shadow, definitely one of the cooler games in the series in my opinion, when they took the game seriously, when they went to the 3D route and made it a really cool kind of hack and slash God of War kind of clone with some awesome massive bosses to fight. Really like that one. It's really cool. An interesting what do you call it, movie tie-in. Excuse me. Clash of the Titans, a video game. I hate the remake of this that this game is based on. I love the original Clash of the Titans from the 80s. It's great. This game is surprisingly decent, all things considered. I think it's got some quite interesting ideas. I really like the combat. I think the combat's fine. It's actually enjoyable. I think it looks cool as well. It looks the part for what it's meant to be. Yeah, I think this is somewhat of a overlooked kind of game. I think it got trashed when it came out, and I think it's actually really alright. I actually had a good time with it. It's Clash of the Titans there. The Club, I've already spoken about this game numerous times. An awesome score attack game in the vein of Tony Hawk, but you've got to kill enemies in the most stylish and fast ways in these levels. Are so good, so much fun. Obviously, we can't go with a collection without a Command and Conquer game. Red Alert 3 is fucking awesome. I love this game. It's so good. Where's the RTS games these days, man? There's a sad lack of RTS games on console. Sure, I probably can go on PC and find a bunch, but where are the RTS games? And where is Command & Conquer? Where is it? We need it back, guys. We need it back, don't we? We need it back desperately. I love this series. We need more Command & Conquer games. We've got Conan. Really fun, kind of God of War clone, but you're Conan the Barbarian. Really recommend this one. It's really decent. Condemned, one of the coolest launch titles for a system. I absolutely love this game. It's got great melee combat. It's got a weird story that's really interesting, and it's got some cool detective kind of puzzle solving. So yeah, if you've never played Condemned, it's a survival horror game that I highly recommend on 360. Conflict Denied Ops, almost a Desert Storm there. Conflict Denied Ops, not played this one, but you can see it was £2 in cash converters. I like the Conflict games. Conflict Desert Storm 2, Vietnam, Global Assault, wherever the other one was called. Not played this one, but I've heard it's bad, and they've gone more first-person shooter with it. So I thought for £2, complete with manual, I'll pick it up from cash converters. Yeah, I don't know what to expect from this one. It could be terrible. Not played it yet. Crackdown. I think Crackdown is a staple for 360 games. I think it's just such a great open world game. You are a super cop, and damn, does it make you feel like one. You can download this on Xbox Series X for nothing. It's free to download on Xbox Series X. So if you've never played the Crackdown game, you've got a Series X or an Xbox One, and you want to play it on a big, modern television, you can do that. It's a quintessential superhero, super cop game where you feel unbelievably powerful. I love the art style as well. It's got this kind of comic book kind of art style to it. Yeah, it's really, really cool. I really like it a lot. It goes kind of like, it's become a bit of a laughing stock series now because Crackdown 3 was such a kind of a joke, kind of a meme for Xbox One, but I digress. Crackdown 2 is more of the same in my opinion, but it's just not as good. It kind of doesn't meet the heights of the first game, but still pretty decent for a sequel. Then we've got Damnation, a really underrated kind of steampunk western that I really enjoyed when it came out. Got loads of flack when it came out. Not a lot of people like this one, but I thought it was really interesting. I loved the world that it introduced. I loved the characters were really cool. The combat was probably its weakest part, but again, I feel like this style and the look of the game kind of made you want to play more of it, and that's what it happened to me. And you just got used to the combat being a bit wonky. Really cool one. Dark Sector, a really cool kind of over-the-shoulder action game, heavily inspired by Resident Evil 4, but in this you've got a glaive and you get to cut people to ribbons with it, and you throw it like a frisbee, like a boomerang, and it comes back to you. It's pretty sick. Highly recommend this game actually. It's kind of forgotten. From what I've heard in the comments, when I featured this game in a video that is called Trapped on Console, and from what I've heard from comments, those people let me know that it's basically became free on Steam. So if you've got Steam and you've got a reasonable PC, I suppose it's easy to run now. You can just download it on PC. Great game. I highly recommend it. Dead Island, really okay. Just kind of fun open world zombie game. Really enjoyed it when it came out. I thought it was okay. I do prefer the sequel, which we're going to come to get to now. Yeah, Dead Island, Riptide, one of my favourite games of all time. Up there, it might be in my top 10. I'm not sure if I've kind of decided whether, there's loads of games that I love, but this game, I put so many hours into this. I think the open worlds were fun to explore. The levelling up system's fantastic. The weapon customization, the weapon, I can't even talk, guys. The weapon customization is really cool. I love this one. The combat is satisfying. It's so unique, the combat. You can target different limbs and make sure they can't swing at you, or you knock it, then you take their legs out and they can't like run at you. It's a game. So I love Dead Island Riptide. And we got a sealed copy of Doom 3 BFG edition. I might keep this sealed though, because I've got it on Series X. You can just download it Game Pass, so that might be one I could just keep sealed. Dragon Age Origins, one of my most favourite RPGs of all time, absolutely awesome. It's a shame where the series has gone. It's basically dead in the water now, unfortunately, but I love Dragon Age Origins. Dragon Age 2, like I said in the disappointing sequels video, it has everything in it that kind of goes against the greatness of the first game, and it is a bit of a disappointment, unfortunately. That's Dragon Age 2. Still enjoy it though, but it's a bit of a shame. Dragon's Dogma, a really interesting RPG from Capcom. It's a bit too hardcore for me. It's a bit weird for me. I do like it, but I don't find myself progressing very far in it. It's the same with Dragon's Dogma 2. Like, that's come out last year. I found myself getting frustrated with the way the game progresses. It's not your usual RPG. There's a lot of factors in there that pushes progression, and I don't think I kind of get on board with it. But still a decent time, a unique time. If you want something a bit different, Dragon's Dogma is a way to go. Dark Souls is one of the coolest RPGs ever made. Obviously, it's become massively popular now, mostly because of its difficulty, but I feel like difficulty is one of the lesser factors of it. I think its world building, combat, and overall look is what makes this game great to me. I think it's got one of the best combat systems in any RPG ever, and that goes on to like Bloodborne and Elden Ring and games like that as well. I think they've really kind of singled out this market of super difficult, hardcore action RPGs in this kind of niche kind of way. They kind of just create their own genre with this, and I absolutely adore Dark Souls. And the games that they've From Software have made since have just gotten better and better. Moving the camera across there. Right, so we've got Driver San Francisco, a great sequel, a great follow-up to the Driver series. Changes everything you'd expect from what a Driver game could be. A weird story, amazing driving, and this whole cool kind of hop to car mechanic that's really cool. Like, you can jump into any vehicle at will. It's pretty cool. Dungeon Siege 3, one of my favourite kind of underrated titles on the 360. Definitely a hidden gem for me. Isometric RPG, similar to Diablo. Loads of fun, guys. I love that one. This game is a new addition to the collection, Eternal Sonata. Not played it yet, but I remember seeing it all the time growing up with the 360 back in the day. And yeah, I've been meaning to get back into JRPGs. I keep saying it, and I haven't, chose a game to really be the gateway into that again. But I definitely knew that this one had to be in the collection, and it's still quite an affordable game in the JRPG sphere. I'm surprised it's not more money than that. But yeah, that's Eternal Sonata. Then we've got Far Cry Instincts Predator. I played loads of Far Cry Instincts on the original Xbox back in the day. This is like the re-released version of it, and it hasn't held up very well in my opinion. I've only got it in the collection as a completionist thing. I definitely prefer the sequels over this one. But yeah, just a kind of a completionist thing going there. Then we've got Far Cry 2, probably my favourite in the series. I adore this game. And I remember playing shitloads of it when it came out, and when you realise you've put in like 30 hours and then the second half of the map opens up, you're like, what the hell is going on? The only downside for this game is that your character contracts malaria, and you've got to kind of like get antidotes in certain amount of intervals into it unless it kills you. So that can kind of slow down the pace of the game a little bit. But I feel like overall the world building, the combat, the realism of it, like the fire physics are unbelievable in this game. Even today, they hold up really well. I love Far Cry 2. Far Cry 3 is more of the same as number 2, really. It's kind of less realistic. It kind of cuts down on the realism and goes more for the fun factor, more for the accessibility factor. And it's so much fun. It really is. You're taking out outposts, hunting animals to increase your carrying capacity, and crafting stuff is really interesting and fun. And yeah, I think it's really cool. If you want a game where your character just becomes Rambo in the first 5 minutes, Far Cry 3 is the best one. Fear, one of my favourite FPS games of all time. It's got AI. The artificial intelligence in this game for the enemies is unrivaled. No game has ever matched it. No game will ever match it. The enemy soldiers in this, they think for themselves. They kind of know when to hide from your gunfire. They kind of flank you. They do all these things that not AI in video games really do nowadays. Really ahead of its time, and still ahead of its time, because no one has done this the same. I love this game. It's one of the best horror shooters ever. Fear 2, not as good, but I like it. Not as much, but I still like it. You know, it's not as good as the first game, but it's pretty decent. Frontlines Full of Raw, a really underrated shooter set in the future, where the world is basically is split up into different factions, and you're fighting over oil as you do. Really fun first-person shooter. The multiplayer used to be awesome back in the day as well. This one's really cool. If you've not played this one, I really recommend it. It's really, really good. Got Forza 2, Forza Motorsport 2. Really fun little game, really cool racing. I don't know what else to say to it. It's simulation racing. The Forza games are really, really cool, and this one's great. Let me move on to Forza 3. Yeah, again, what can I say? It's simulation racing. It's really, really fun. It's a really good one. Moving on to this side, we have got Forza Motorsport 4. Might be the best one in the series for me. I actually played loads of this growing up with the 360. This is a weird promotional copy for some reason, but yeah, awesome simulation racing game. Escape Dead Island, a game that I got really cheap in a charity shop. Not played it yet. I've heard it's more of a kind of stealth game in the Dead Island series, so I'm looking forward to giving this a go at some point. It might be pretty cool, but then again, I've seen some really, and if I don't drop it, would be very nice. Yeah, I've seen that it didn't get very good reviews back in the day. Grand Theft Auto 4, one of the better Grand Theft Autos in my opinion. I definitely prefer it over 5. I think 4 is more interesting. It might be nostalgia for me saying that, but I absolutely love Grand Theft Auto 4. It's a great game. Then we've got the episodes from Liberty City, a really good 2-pack, I think, of really great additions to the game. Love that one. Then we've got Gears of War, a de facto must-have for the 360, right? Absolutely awesome game. Gears of War 2, my personal favourite in the series. I adore this game. I played loads of it when it was new. Played loads of Horde mode with my friends. Loved that one. Ghost Recon Future Soldier, an awesome Tom Clancy's action shooter, kind of tactical shooter. Love it. It's really, really good. It's more action based than the other games. Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, a great tactical shooter. Highly recommend that one. And the sequel might be even better. Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 2, awesome tactical shooter, guys. If you've not played those, definitely play them. One of my favourite bad games of all time, Golden Axe, Beast Rider. So much fun. To me, it successfully translates the Golden Axe DNA into a 3D, just brutal fighter, brawler. Obviously, the Halo games are just classic. This is my favourite one. The anniversary edition of Halo 1. It's just amazing. Halo 3 is great. ODST is fairly underrated, but I still don't find myself really into it that much. I'm probably the biggest fan of Halo 4. I loved it when it came out. It was great. Never played the Halo Wars games. I just got it for completionist's sake. And Halo Reach is great, but I don't think it's the best, as good as people say it is. I think for me, it was a bit underwhelming. Next up we have Hunted, a really cool co-op based action RPG. Really recommend this one. Kind of has that similar kind of vibe of like over the shoulder Gears of War vibe, but it's a medieval hack and slash kind of stuff. Really, really fun. Just Cause 1, really fun open world game. I always see the Just Cause series as more of an evolution of the Mercenary series. It's what came afterwards. You know, we don't get the Mercenary series anymore, and I feel like Just Cause has taken that kind of like open world sandbox, unleash carnage as much as possible, explosions everywhere. I think Just Cause has taken that mantle that Mercenaries used to have back in the day. Cameo, a really cool rareware game where you can transform into different monsters and platform your way around and fight stuff. It's pretty fun. Knight's Contract, one of my favourite games in terms of no one talks about it and stuff. Really underrated, really hidden gem. It's getting up there in price now, but I do really like this one. If you like God of War-esque combat, but you want it a bit more quirky, a bit more Japanese, this is the game. Really, really cool. Canyon 2, Dog Days. Not played this one. I played the first one. Quite like the first one for all things considered. But this one I've not played. I got it in the charity shop for really cheap, so I thought I picked it up. Come in the slipcover. I've not actually seen it with the slipcover before, so that was nice. I still need to get the first game. Got a game called Legendary. Fun fact, I'm playing this currently on my PC. It's actually alright. It's not a terrible game. It's actually pretty decent, all things considered. It's quite underwhelming. The idea is pretty cool, but I feel like the execution's a bit underwhelming, but I'm still enjoying it for what it is. That's Legendary. Mafia 2, a really cool open world crime game. I love the fact that I've got it with a slip. I've never seen it with a slip cover before. This was a charity shop find as well. I love this game. Also, if you've played the Mafia games, I highly recommend them. The remake of Mafia 1 is incredible, and Mafia 2 itself is great as well. Number 3, it kind of loses its luster a little bit, but I still think as a trilogy they are really, really good. Speaking of trilogies, Mass Effect games are essential. Mass Effect 2 being one of my favourite games of all time. I played way too much of that game, I love it. Mass Effect 3 being pretty decent as well. Max Payne 3 here. I remember when this game came out, it came out at £40. I remember saying to myself, this is the kind of quality I look for in my video games. It is an absolutely beautiful, kind of polished shooter that actually feels great to play. And yeah, I still think it's great now. It's a really underrated sequel, no one talks about it. Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, an awesome Platinum Games spin-off from Metal Gear Solid. We play as Ninja Raiden and he's kick-ass. The combat is absolutely satisfying as hell. Midnight Club Los Angeles, a really good street racing title. I do miss the Midnight Club series. I think all the games hold up really well, and this one goes more along the lines of the Need for Speed route in terms of the way it's structured and stuff, but I still think it's really, really good. We've got Mindjack, one of the worst games ever, apparently, according to outlets. But I do want to play it. As soon as I heard it's really bad, it gives me a reason to check it out. It was really cheap as well, so I had to pick it up. Never Dead, another really underrated game for the console. I love this game. I think it's really, really fun. 99 Nights, one of the coolest Dynasty Warrior clones out there. I love it. I think it plays really well. It's awesome to play. Loads of characters as well to choose from. Awesome. Ninja Blade, a long lost forgotten From Software title. Kind of came out around the same time as Ninja Gaiden 2. I think it kind of was the one that kind of got the short end of the stick for that. But a really, really fun little game. Quite challenging as well. Speaking of Ninja Gaiden 2, I love this game. They've recently re-released it as Ninja Gaiden 2 Black on Xbox Series X, and I've been playing it and it's fantastic. It's still fantastic. Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion, still in my opinion the best Elder Scrolls game. I don't think it's been topped. We'll see when the 6th game comes out, but this was my introduction to truly open world RPGs. And I absolutely love it. I still love it. It still holds up now. It looks a bit wonky, and the dialogue is a bit wonky and stuff, but I still think as an open world RPG experience, it's one of the best. We've got Overlord, a really cool game where you play the bad guy and you've got little goblins to send around and cause havoc. It's really, really cool. I can't really explain it better than that because the game is best to play it to understand it, I suppose, but really underrated game for the 360. And we've got Phantom Star Universe, really underrated game as well. I highly recommend this one. It's really fun. I've not even gotten into the meat of the game yet, but the opening sequences I found to be quite entertaining. So when we get into the meat and potatoes of the game, I can imagine it being really, really, really deep and really, really fun. I've got Project Gotham Racing 4. Not played this one before, but I love the Project Gotham Racing series, so I will need to get into this one eventually, and I will eventually get number 3 as well for the collection. Portal 2, one of my favourite puzzle games of all time. It's not just a great puzzle game, it's a really funny game as well. The humour in this is just awesome. I love it. It makes me laugh out loud. Love Portal 2. We've got the Prototype games, Prototype 1 and Prototype 2. Great superhero, power fantasy, kind of open world games. Highly recommend those if you like that kind of style. Quantum Theory, a kind of overlooked Japanese Gears of War clone that I quite like. I think it's better than people would give it credit for. You know, developed by Tecmo, Koei Tecmo. Really, really good. If you've seen that, pick it up. It's actually all right. Then we've got Quake 4. Quake 4, sorry. Quake 4 there. Awesome game. I've spoken about this before. It's really underrated. Really, really good. Red Dead Redemption. What can I say about this game? It's an amazing Western open world game from Rockstar. I can't decide if I like this more than the second game. Someone's revving their engine really loud for some reason. Resident Evil 5. I love Resident Evil 5. I played it recently on a replay. It's really, really fun to play. It's actually still really holds up really well. Resident Evil 6, one of the most disappointing sequels ever in my opinion, but on a replay it's not that bad. It's not that bad. A really, really fun spin-off to Resident Evil, Operation Raccoon City. I think it's a really, really fun over-the-shoulder shooter. I think it actually is really, really good, and I love the fact that you go into different Resident Evil locations. Next up is Ridge Racer Unbounded. I am in the process of collecting all the Ridge Racer games. I just need one more, which is the Ridge Racer 6 on 360 actually. This one is almost unrecognisable as a Ridge Racer game. It plays more like a Burnout title, which is really, really weird. So I don't know what that's all about, but it's okay. It's very, very difficult though. It's got a very high difficulty ceiling for some reason. Then we've got Rise of the Argonauts. I've spoken about this before. If you love Greek mythology, this is a love letter to that, and it's a great kind of hack and slash narrative focused game that I highly recommend. Right, the final stretch. So we've got the Risen games. We've got Risen, which is great. I love Risen. Risen 2, not so great. It's fine, but it's very obtuse in terms of how it does progression. Rogue Warrior, a really funny FPS game. Not the greatest ever, obviously. Mickey Rourke doing some of the worst voice acting ever, but it's hilarious to hear. Just a really silly first-person shooter that I can't help but like. Sega Rally, a great rally game. I love this one. It's awesome. If you ever see it in the wild, pick it up. I think it goes kind of forgotten on the 360. People don't realise that they actually put out a Sega Rally game. A new addition to the collection, Shell Shock 2 Blood Trials. Yeah, this one, it's pretty bad. Don't get me wrong, pretty bad. But I remember playing this back in the day and fairly liking it for what it was. But I remember the difficulty is ridiculous. And yeah, so expect to be shot to pieces by Vietnamese armies. Sonic Generations, one of the greatest Sonic games ever in my opinion. It completely saved the franchise. Splinter Cell Conviction, a really underrated Splinter Cell game. I like it. People didn't like where it went for the Splinter Cell series. More action, less stealth, but I still think it's a pretty fun Splinter Cell title. Star Ocean Last Hope. Remember it being really, really fun back in the day. Not played it recently, so I can't comment, but I'm all about up for these kind of sci-fi JRPGs, so looking forward to giving that a second shot. I love this. This game is so much fun. Stuntman Ignition. It's literally like you've got to basically, you're shooting for a movie and you've literally got to do these challenges, but you've got to do them almost perfectly to progress. So much fun, so much fun. I've got the two Supreme Commander games. Amazing RTS titles for the 360. I highly recommend it if you want some RTS goodness. Yeah, I love these games. They're so good. New addition to the collection as well. So they're really, really affordable. Number 2 is only £2.50 in CEX. Like, really, really affordable games. I love these Supreme Commander games. They're awesome. I've got the Test Drives games. Test Drive Ferrari Racing Challenge. I do believe this is a... I think mine's a German import. It's still sealed because I had to order it. But I wanted to get all the Test Drive games for the 360. And that was one of them. Test Drive Unlimited is an amazing life sim racing game. Love that one. And then Test Drive Unlimited 2 is one of the best racing games of all time. One of the best open world racing games ever in my opinion. I love that game. Then we've got TNA Impact. I've never watched TNA ever in my life. I do love WWE. But I remember this game, regardless of me not knowing TNA, was really fun. It was a really fun wrestling game. Then we've got Two Human. Really fun kind of interesting kind of mix between kind of like cyberpunk and Norse mythology, set in the future. Humanity is taken over by robots. They're like murdering people, and you're part of the like you're chosen by the gods to take them out, and it's like kind of a God of War-esque kind of isometric hack and slash. Didn't do so well when it came out, but I think it's really underrated. You can get it, you can download it for free on Xbox One and Xbox Series X, so no reason not to try that one out. Too Human, it's free to play. Tom Clancy's Hawks 2. I really like these flight sim games from time to time, and Hawks 2 is really, really cool. I love this one, it's really, really fun. Two of the best games Ubisoft has ever made, in my opinion. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas and Rainbow Six Vegas 2. I adore them, they're awesome. Transformers the game. I do want to get all the Transformers games for 360, so I started with the first two. Transformers the game. I've not played it, so I can't comment. And Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. Again, I've not played it, so I can't comment, but I've heard loads of people have got lots of nostalgia for this game in particular. Then we've got Turok, a really fun modernisation of the Turok games. Maybe not as good as the originals, in my opinion, but I feel like it's a bit of fun if you want that kind of more grounded experience. Two Worlds, one of my favourite bad games of all time. I unironically love Two Worlds. What can I say? It's super fun. And then I've got Two Worlds 2. Such a massive leap over the first game, such a better game as well. Loved, actually, genuinely, you know, I love Two Worlds unironically because I actually found a lot of fun with it, but I genuinely love Two Worlds 2. In terms of an RPG, it's really good, really well done. And we've got a little stack here of stuff. Let's move that out of the way. So we've got XCOM Enemy Unknown, one of the best turn-based tactic games ever made. I absolutely adore it. It's so well done, so well done. The Witcher 2. Played a little bit of Witcher 2. It's got an awesome opening CG cinematic, and I feel like the combat is very weighty and really cool. I need to get back onto the Witchers and actually complete them because I haven't given them enough time as much as I should have done. Got the Wheelman, really fun kind of Vin Diesel car game where it's like an action game where you jump between cars and do crazy shit. And then I'm just going to show you these here. So we've got Vanquish is a great action game by Platinum Games and Sega. Viking is a really cool kind of stealth action game that I recommend by Creative Assembly and Sega. You play as a Viking. Wanted I've not played yet, but it looks really fun. And then we've got Legends of WrestleMania and SmackDown vs. Raw 2011, which I think are fairly underrated, but yeah. So that's it, guys. Those are my games in my Xbox 360 collection. As always, guys, let me know any of your thoughts for any of these games in the shelves. Let me know your thoughts on them. The Xbox 360 collection is not complete yet. Obviously, I'm not going for a full set, nothing like that. There is games still on my list that are eluding me in the wild. So there's more games to get for it. I love the system. And yeah, so as always, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, again, let's continue to build an Xbox 360 collection.